Do not fear! Saf is here, and welcome to Saf Surgery and Spirituality Gone Wild. And you know what? What a show we have today, because I'm having a friend of mine. Join us today. And a friend that means a lot to me. She's so dear to me, and I absolutely love this person. Her name is Tania Simmons, and let me give you a little bit of a brief bio about her, because she does so many things. She's best known as a respected apostle, equipping and empowering others. She's a global humanitarian. She's a professor of academia. She's a teacher. She's a global entrepreneur. She's the CEO of Global Empowerment Firm. She's the founder of Healing for the Nations, Inc., recognized and invited to be a part of Power for Women and Strathmore's Who's Who worldwide for top leaders in business. She's a member of the Nurses Business Association, first place in the National Shark Tank competition in 2015 in Las Vegas, Nevada. She's also a voice to help women and men globally. And she has a thriving business, which we'll talk about, which is involving international currency trading, iSuccessBrand.com -profit for purpose. Then this is where she helps men and women learn how to grow their wealth through education and cutting edge strategies in a $6 trillion market. Hoo-ha! 6 trillion. Ferocious, aren't I? Tania received her registered nurse degree with honors from the Troy State University. She has a pastoral diploma from World Harvest College, a counseling certificate from Breakthrough School, and is working right now on her master's degree for her family nurse practitioner license. And she was also invited to speak in Paris at the Primary Care Conference 2020. And she's a motivational speaker who was invited to be a speaker on the Progression Tour through the USA with Mr. Andy Odate, or Odette. I'm sure Tania will tell me how to pronounce the surname. But either way, he's the member of the Forbes Council and is the 2020 face of marketing. Yes, he is. She's also publishing a scholarly article, a journal of nursing as well. She has planted a mission school in Pakistan, planting water wells in remote villages. She sends medical teams for relief and runs several human relief efforts globally. And I'd like to learn so much more about that. She's a pioneer for women. She's a strategic visionary, and she speaks on several platforms. She's just incredible. I could say so much more about Tania. Should we just bring her on? Shall we bring her on? Tania, where are you? Hey!
Hello. Hello. Much love, and much love. Oh my goodness. I'm truly humbled, Saf, by that intro. I tell you, I thank God for everything, but I am so excited and humbled and honored all at the same time to be on this broadcast with you. I tell you, you are an amazing leader, transformational leader. I know you didn't plan this, but you are all those things and more. But the first thing you are is my friend. And so I thank you for your friendship, and I'm honored by it. And whether we're on air or not, I thank you for being that friend to me and for encouraging me and giving me confidence and courage to speak up in areas where maybe I haven't always. So thank you for that. And I'm excited to be on here today.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to honor you, not me, Tania. You know what? Let's change this. This is Tania surgery. Tell me. That's so beautiful.
I'm ready to go, buddy. I'm ready to go.
That's so lovely to hear, and it's. I'm just happy to have you here. And as you say, you're a friend, and you know, last time we met, we had so much fun.
We did.
And that's what it's about, fun. And before I go anywhere, I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving to you and your whole family. And maybe next year I'll be there celebrating with your family.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. Can you imagine? Or us in the UK would be amazing. Yes,
I just,
they all say hello. They all say hello to you and your family. And we're about to, as soon as we're done, I'm going to finish cooking, and then they're all coming over, and we're going to, of course, have our small gathering, but we are going to enjoy some good food and be thankful. We have so much to be thankful for. This year has been a bit crazy for everyone. And I'm thankful for so much, Saf. I mean, waking up, number one, and we have a lot to be thankful for. So yep, we're going to celebrate that. So thank you for that.
thank you. No, it's where is the love? Do you remember that? Do you remember the Black Eyed Peas? Man? Isn't that a wonderful tune? Before every radio, because I've got my own radio show as well, and I play that tune as my first tune every time, and I think about our interview as well, and it's so great.
It's fun.
Talking about gratitude,
Yeah.
we both have a lot to be grateful for, and I know you do as well.
Mhm.
And rather than straight away diving into what you do today and the wonderful work and the wonderful things that I explained and spoke about in the introduction, I want to know what the young Tanya was like growing up, and maybe if you'd like to share some of the struggles and challenges that you had as a young person, that more or less I like to think has served you today to serve others. But over to you, Tanya,
Yeah,
please.
I feel very comfortable, and I'm very thankful to be able to share these things with you and with the people that are going to be watching, only because I feel like the things that we're allowed to go through are the things that can be used when we process through those things, and they can help others. And so, we don't know who's going to be listening today. We don't know in what situations they're going to be facing today. So my hope is that hope is spread to those hearts, and and a renewed sense of understanding, letting them know that they're not alone. And I was born in 1974. Yes, I'm 46. 40.
That's the same. That's the same age as my wife. I think. Were you born in April?
I was yes. Oh
Oh,
my
no.
goodness.
Oh,
Yes, April. I am a April baby. And so when I was first born, my parents, they were pastoring. My dad's an international scholar, but he's overcome some real hard things too. In high school, he was deemed to be very unsuccessful. He was the leader of a rock band, and he was on LSD and all sorts of drugs and all sorts of things. And he just, through a series of events, his life was turned around, and he came almost to a spiritual awakening in his life, and he met my mother, and then came me. And so in 1974, I was born in April, and I was born with in a very traumatic way, if I can say that. But when I was born, the doctors stated that they didn't think I was going to live the very first day, because I had a heart defect. I had heart trauma, and they weren't sure what had happened and why that was happening. So as soon as I was born, and you'll see how all this is tied in, I was rushed away from my mother, and I didn't have the bonding. I didn't have any of that. They immediately rushed me away. My mother was in distress. I was in distress as an infant. My dad at that point didn't know what to do. He was a young father. He was in his early 20s, and my mom was traumatized. And so the doctors told them they weren't sure if I was going to make it that first night. And so my dad, being a praying man that he was, he said, Lord, I don't know what to do. I'm going to lose my daughter, but I'm going to trust you. I give her to you. I give her to you. And I just, turn this around. I'm going to trust you. And so he went to bed. He calls that room the miracle room, his miracle room, because he's seen great things happen. through prayer. And so, anyways, that night he went to bed, and the next day he got a call from the physicians, and they said, "We don't know what's happened. We don't know why this has happened, but she is. It looks like she's going to make it, and she's turned around." And so from that point on, I was getting stronger and stronger, and then after a while was reunited with my mom. But the reason why I bring that up is because, it's important to talk about those things, because I didn't realize, and it affected me. That one event in utero and when I was born affected me as I started to grow up. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand how anxiety was introduced into my life at a very, very young age. As a baby, as an infant, I didn't understand how trauma and traumatic events, that was introduced into my life at a very, very young age. I didn't understand that. But as I started to grow up, I started, showing signs of different things, anxiety and in different areas like that. And so I even as an adult, I went through some counseling, and I sought counsel because I didn't understand where that was coming from, what was happening, until I met a really strong counselor, and she took me all the way back in those years. And then I realized, I started to connect the dots, how those things were happening and how it was showing up in my life. So that's number one. And number two is, when I started to grow, as a young girl, I was curious, I was innovative. We lived on the campuses of Yale and Duke, and my dad got a Queen's grant to Edinburgh University, and so my mother, she was secretary of the dean at Yale, and so I got to roam around quite a lot. I got to just have free access to the whole campus. It's true, Sav, it's true. So as a little one, I was roaming around everywhere, just like I owned the place at about 7, 8, 9 years old. I was roaming around only because my dad was, they weren't negligent, but, they knew I was protected and I was safe. Well, at times, that opened the door for other things, because, there were other students there with their children, and, that caused, how should I say, how kids can be very curious, and, they can start to, want to try new things and do things that, probably aren't the best. And so I was young. And so what that led into was, uh, a series of events that I didn't understand. I was young, and curiosity, I think, got the best and the thing is, I didn't initiate those things, but it was kind of perpetrated on me. And we're talking about some abuse in my younger years, some sexual abuse, and I noticed that it would happen. And what happened was, it happened with two family members that, I recently actually just confronted in a loving way, blessed them, told them I forgave them. But I think what's important to know, when you're younger and those things happen, Saf, false guilt comes against you, low self-esteem come against you, guilt, a guilt that you did something wrong, but you didn't cause anything. I didn't cause those things to happen. And I understood that when I was older, you know, but I think I went through a period of time, when I was around 11 and 12 years old, that I remember doing this, that I would dress down. I would dress down, not to cause attention to myself. Right. And so, because I didn't want any unnecessary attention to me. And so I remember doing that. And I remember the one solid person who was like my rock. was my father, of course, but his father, which was my grandfather. And after he had passed away, I went through some depression when I was about 11, 12 years old. And I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't understand what was happening. And I was the type of child that I was looking in microscopes when I was 6 and 7 years old. I mean, I loved science. I was dissecting frogs at the age of 7 and 8. Very curious. I was combining chemicals, like little chemicals, like at a very young age. And my grandmother, I remember she asked me, she said, "What do you want to do when you're older?" And I said, "I want to be a doctor and I want to preach. That's what I want to do when I'm older." And she said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Oh, yes." It was like a Kairos moment, Seth. It was like, I was like, "Oh, yes, that's what I want to do. I know that's what I want." And here I am. Behold, I'm doing pretty much most of the, I'm in healthcare and I'm preaching and teaching and doing all sorts of things. So, I believe that you have those Kairos moments when you're younger and when you're older. It's just a moment in time, which is very impactful, almost a prophetic moment. And so, you can't expect greatness without great struggle. You can't expect great victory without great adversity. And so, I went on, and then I went through that. And I wouldn't talk a lot when I was like 12. I wouldn't open up. I was very introvert. I suppressed my emotions. I suppressed things a lot until, Saf, it just came up to a boiling point where one day I just broke and I just let it all out, and I sat down with my parents and I said, "This is what's happened." They didn't know. My parents were also ministers at the time. And so there was, I don't mind sharing this, but there was a person in their congregation that they trusted and that violated me when I was younger. And they had no idea, and I told them about that. And so, I went through all those things. And then what that did was, if you don't talk about those things, it instills a false sense of belief about yourself, or those belief systems, right? And so it wasn't till I was older, Saf, that I started processing through these things. Why did that happen? What caused those things to happen? And then I realized I didn't cause anything to happen. It wasn't, that was not, that I didn't do anything. And so, we walked through that. I walked through that. And then I got, I very successful in high school, high achiever in high school, straight A's and B, and graduated early from high school because I skipped sixth grade. I went from fifth to seventh grade. And so I was the youngest. I was the youngest in my schooling. I was the baby of the class. Everyone else could date. I couldn't, those types of things. I think my high school years were very fun. I was homecoming queen. I was, I won the beauty pageant of the year, all those things, right? So yes, high achievement, high achievement. But I think the one thing that I learned is that you can be a high achiever and do all these things and all these accolades, but it doesn't make you who you are, right? It's important to be first and then to do, right? And so I think it draws you back to a heart searching of, knowing who you are, knowing the destiny you're called to, and knowing the love, the real unconditional love. I think that's the bottom line. And we all want love. And so I think in my high school years, sometimes you get confused with, especially after going through that in your younger years, sex does not equal love, right? And so the Lord, honestly, I dedicated my heart to the Lord, and the Lord, through His love and His compassion, showed me what true love was. And and then I graduated. I felt a call of God on my life. I pursued that, and then married my high school sweetheart. I was 22. I met him when I was 14. He was hot, of course, and blonde hair, blue eyes,
I
tall.
wouldn't expect anything less from you, Tanya. Anything less.
Everybody wanted him. I got him.
Yeah, man.
But
Beautiful.
but we married, and we were in love, Safs, totally, completely in love. And I thought he would be my forever and ever. And life, I had a 10-year plan, I had a 15-year plan, Saf, and I had a 20-year plan. And I wrote all those things down, Saf. And life just isn't like that. It's just not like that, Saf. And so we had the house, we had the picket fence, we had the little boy and the little girl, and then he was in a car accident. And in 30 seconds, my life shifted from what was picture perfect to devastation in 30 seconds. And so they called me. I had just started nursing school, and he was a super great provider. I wasn't working, and everything, was provided for from him. And he wanted me to be successful, go through school. And so I got the call that he had been in a car accident. So I went to the hospital, and the neurosurgeon that day looked at me and said, "Get prepared for organ donation." And I said, "Not today. That's not going to happen today." And so he did live through the night. His intracranial pressure was the highest they've ever seen, they told me. He lived through the night, and I stayed by his side day and night, along with his family and my family. The whole community was shaken. We were youth pastoring at the time. And so here's another scenario. What happens when bad things happen to good people? So we were taking, here's another oxymoron to add to it, is the person who hit him head on was one of the, God bless him, but was one of the alcoholic fathers of the kids we were taking to our church.
Oh.
So what are the odds of that happening? Honestly, I mean, what are the odds of that happening? So I look and I see in this pandemic where people are, and I'm going to link this in to now, where people are questioning, and they're saying, how come these bad things are happening to these good people? How come? Now, these are the hard questions we're going after. These are the questions that will either rock your faith. They will rock your faith. They rocked my faith. I'm going to be honest. I went through anger, because 3 months later, after he passed away, he lived for 3 months, and there were documented miracles that happened. I have them printed out. He was scheduled for a hip replacement. His hip was completely healed. The orthopedic surgeon came in and said, "We don't have to do surgery. His hip is completely healed." There were documented miracles, Seth. Why he died 3 months in, he died for complications of septicemia, which is a blood infection, and so he died a day after Christmas. Yeah. So 1996. So I found myself in a scenario where I was 22 years of age. I was with a son and a daughter. My son is the last one on his side for a male to carry on their name. So my son is 27 now. My daughter is 28. Her name's Hannah. And so I found myself as a young mother with 2 children, and all of the responsibility, the roles of everything shifted on me. And I went through anger because 3 months later, my best friend passed away. And well, actually, her husband passed away from a car accident. And she came to me. I remember this, Saf. She came to me and she said, Tania, don't worry. We've got all summer. We'll go to the beach and we'll just, take it easy. I said, oh, no problem. No problem. Let's do that. She left my house that day. And that was the last time I saw her. 3 months later, she passed away. I had 3 deaths within 9 months. And I remember going to her funeral, Saf, and coming back and taking, I don't mind telling you this is the real deal. I took off my shoe. It was a high-heeled black shoe. I'll never forget this. And I threw it against the wall. And I said, why? That was the big question for me. Why, God, why? Where are you? And I remember feeling that way. I remember feeling hopeless at times. I remember questioning my faith. I remember questioning everything. I remember questioning everything, Saf. Until one day I broke down and I said, Lord, I don't understand. I don't understand. I said, but my faith surely has been tried and I'm going to come out like gold. And I don't know all the whys. I don't know all the ifs, ands, and buts, but I'm still going to trust you. Now, I think that is where your faith is tried. It's not, what happens when you don't understand? What happens in that place of faith when you don't understand? And I think it was just by the grace of God, honestly, that he carried me. If I talk about this too much, I'm going to break down. I can tell. Because there were many moments that I broke down. I felt like I couldn't get out of bed. It was my children that got me out of the bed every morning. Honestly, it's my children that gave me purpose to live. And, I didn't do everything right. There were times I made bad choices. There were times when, I questioned everything. But somehow, in some way, it was the only thing I could say. It was the love of God that kept me, Saf. It was his love that drew me back and kept me and kept pulling me back to him. And he would send good people my way, like you and like other people that would speak life into me and give me hope and encourage me. And so I went through that, and then I made the transition of, I was only 22 at the time. So at that point, I decided to go and pursue my, Bible college and my, pastoral degree because I felt the call on my life. I knew there was. So we moved. We left a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. We moved to Columbus, Ohio. We lived in an apartment. And I sent my kids to private school. I worked 3 jobs, and I went through full-time Bible college. And I just pursued what I knew to be true. And even through all that, I didn't understand, but I knew God was working regardless, and he was going to make a way. And Seth, he did. He did. And, and I saw things, and I saw, but he loved me. He loved me back to wholeness. He loved me back to wholeness. And I have never suffered so much heartbreak. I mean, I'm telling you, there were moments when I didn't think I had anything to give. There were moments where I had hit the lowest of the low. But somehow God loved me back, and I just kept putting one foot in front of the other. And I knew there was greater to come. I knew there was greater purpose. I knew that. And so we did that step by step. And now my daughter is beautiful. She just had twins. I mean, she's in the ministry. I'm so proud of her. She is a wonderful mother. And I have five grandchildren, which are all girls, Saf. They're all girls. They're all girls. And so my son, and they give me I mean, they're just beautiful. All of them are beautiful. And my son, my daughter is over all of the children's ministry. But not only that, she's a wonderful, loving person. She's real, you know. And I'm telling you, we could have been all sorts of messed up, Saf. We could have been all sorts of messed up. And it's by the grace of God, honestly. And my son, he's 27, and his name's Levi, and he is amazing. He is a wonderful, successful entrepreneur. He brought in over $2.2 million into his company last year. He's doing amazing things, very successful. And I say he's successful because of the man he's become. He's become it not just because of the money and things like that, but the man he is. He loves his family, and he's humble. And those things you can't buy. Those are that's where the real gold is. And um and so so I did that. And then I remarried. And I remarried in 2000 and, oh goodness, when was that? 2007, I think, 2006. And that lasted for 3 years. And I went through a lot of, things in that marriage. And I should have saw some signs. I think I did, but I was young. I was 28, and I thought I was in love, head over heels in love. And some of those warning signs you need to be careful with, ladies. I'm going to send a shout out. Not everything that glitters is gold. Watch the actions, watch the character. Make sure that you're looking at character. And so, when they say, I love you, or vice versa, the woman as well, right, Saf? The woman can do this as well. Charming and everything, but you want to make sure that you see the real deal. How do they act when they don't get their way? How do they act when they're angry? Is there manipulation there? Is there control there? Those types of things you want to look for. I want to help people today, and that's what I'm doing. And so those are the things you need to look for. But I did get remarried, and it was a horrible. I take responsibility for my choices, for my actions. I should not have done that, but I did. So I got remarried, and at the end of 3 years, after much counseling and things, I was 7 months pregnant, and I made a choice to get out of that. I don't regret that. I don't look back. But I had to have, I went through some really rough things in that. So again, I could see that cycle. See, it was a cycle. Do you understand? And so I realized what was happening. I saw that, and I sought active counseling, and I asked for help, if there was any issues that in me that needed to be dealt with, in me that needed to be healed, you know. And so that was a series of over 2 years where I went through a school of inner healing. And we got to some issues. We got to some rock solid issues in me. And, that why, self-esteem issues of, why did I settle? Why did I think that was love? Why did I settle for that? Those types of questions, which all stems back from what? From childhood, right? It went all the way back. So I had to work through all of that, which got me to that point. And then I had to make some real choices. I made some choices. I had people telling me, well, you need to stay. You need to work it out. You need to stay. And I knew what I was experiencing behind closed doors. Okay. But not all things you can see. Okay. There are things that happen to you that no one can see that cause deep wounds on the inside of you, you know? And so people couldn't see that, but those things were going on. Those things were happening. I won't go all into detail with that, but trust me, it was not nice. So
Tanya,
I know. There is there is a place of victory.
I
So
know there is. I
there
know
is a
there is.
place of victory. Okay. And yes, I know I've been through more than the average person. Okay. But look at your life, Saf. My goodness. Look at what you've
I'm
been
I'm
through.
choked. I'm choked right now, Tanya. I don't often have a I don't often choke and I don't often have a tearful eye, but that your stories really touched me. I
Oh goodness, you're gonna get me going. Oh no. Oh. But
That's really
listen,
touched me.
I thank you for that, Saf. I thank you for that. But in all things, we are more than conquerors. In all things, in all things. And sometimes you don't understand how things are going to work out for your good. Sometimes, and I'm going to speak this loudly, I'm going to speak this boldly, and I'm going to speak this to the point. The point is that regardless of the things that you and I have and others are walking through or we've walked through, there is a brighter light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way that God Himself can use things for His glory to help other people. Saf, look at your broadcast. Look at the things that you're doing. Look at the ways you're helping people. You are helping hundreds and hundreds of people. Look at your men's broadcast. Listen, it brings credibility to the table. Look, I would have loved not to have gone through anything. I look at other people's lives and I go, how come they have not experienced half the things I've experienced? Well, guess what? Saf, listen, when I walk into a room, I can relate to the single person who is looking for love or who wants love or who has given love and has been hurt. I can relate to the person who is widowed at 22 years of age, sitting in a room full of elderly people, and I can relate to the elderly people who are widowed and who've gone through tremendous heartbreak. I can enter a room with widows and relate to them. I can enter a room of a married couple and relate to them. I can enter into a room of abused people and relate to them sexually, mentally, physically, emotionally. I can relate to those people. Okay? And it's about ministry. It's about helping others. But we have to help ourselves first. We have to get to the root of our own issues. We have to take responsibility for our own choices. We have to be able to face ourselves in the mirror and be able to say, "Hey, I deserve better than this. Hey, I am a great woman. Hey, I deserve to give love and to receive love at the highest capacity. I am a woman or a man of great worth and great value." And if that's one thing I want to instill to people that are listening today, is that you are a person of great worth. You are a person of great value. You hold greatness on the inside of you, and you can do great things. You can do things that you can't even imagine possible. And I want to encourage the person who's feeling lonely, who's feeling as if they don't have anyone. I'm telling you right now, you know what? I've been there, Saf has been there, but you know what? Keep moving forward, that there is a better day, that hope is on the way. And so I remember standing over my husband's grave and crying my eyeballs out, that the perfect dream I thought was going to happen was dead. And I remember saying to myself, I am not a victim, I am a victor. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's going to be my story. My story is not that of a victim. My story is that of a victor. So today, yes, I went through all those things, and I went through a lot more things. But you know what? And I've dealt with rejection, and I've dealt with all of those things. But let me tell you something. In the midst of it, listen, when you humble yourself and when you really deal to heal, like you're talking about, Saf, hey, this is called surgery for a reason. You deal to heal. You can't expect to heal if you're not willing to deal with your own junk, right? With your own stuff. And so look at what you've done, Saf, in your life. You have dealt and you're dealing, and I think, Saf, it's a process, don't you? Don't you think it's a process?
It definitely is. And there's no structure to it. There's no, it just happens. It happens organically and authentically. And it has that with me. I mean, I never predicted this. I never planned this out. I never planned the past. I never planned the future. I never planned any of it. But the way it's panned out now, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for meeting survivors, victors. It's about being masters of your destiny, not victims of your past, and that's what you and I represent, and many other people.
That's it. And that's it right there. What you just said was I refused. I refused, Saf, to say and to think, well, this is it. No, I knew there was a better day. I knew there was a brighter moment. And you know what? I can honestly say that, you know what, I'm very thankful. I am extremely thankful for every moment I had to press through, for every moment I had to push over, for every moment I didn't stop, for every moment that it felt like I was dragging everything I could through the mud to just get to a place of victory. Well, let me tell you, today, I don't feel that way. Today, I know that I stand in a place of victory. Today, I know who I am. Today, I stand in a place of destiny where I create momentum. I'm creating my future, and no longer do I live in my past. You know, and I think that's a process. It is a process to get there. It takes real healing. It takes a humbleness of heart. It takes a vulnerability. It takes an authentic communication, to be real and transparent, and to say, look, here's my ugly. Here's my ugly. Here's my ugly. Let's deal with this. Let's get right to it. And let's, you know, and let help me, you know, and that's why we need people. We need people alongside of us to love us. And here today, I have people where I'm loving and I'm mentoring and I'm helping. And that's what it's about, right? We get through. I don't think we never make it to a place where we can say, well, we've arrived. I don't believe in that. I can say that I am in a much better place, in a place of victory, right? And no longer am I held back by those old belief systems or those mindsets or, you know, the trauma of my past. Instead, you know, it's the mess that becomes a message of hope and victory and life and real living, abundant living for other people and for yourself. And that's the place of victory. That's the place of true hope, you know. And so I got on this broadcast today because I knew what was going to happen. I knew I was going to we were going to take the lid off these things. But to say that there is real hope for you today. So if you're in a place of those things, if you're in a place, you know, I would encourage you, reach out to Saf, reach out to me, reach out to someone that you would trust and get hope, get some help in moving forward, because there is a greater future for you, waiting for you on that other side. What do you have to say, Saf? What are your thoughts?
Tanya, I was not expecting this today. I'll be honest with you. It's amazing when you know you have a connection with someone, whether it's fun, whether it's sad, whether it's survival, whether it's fear. We still have this connection. When I was humbled and honored to be honored by you when I came onto your broadcast, it was a different broadcast, but the connection was so powerful.
Yeah.
Today is another broadcast, and again, it's a different vibe, but the connection is still so powerful.
Yeah.
And because of the first, I wasn't expecting this today, and Thank you for sharing. Thank you already in advance for helping numerous people, because it's not what you see on the top left corner. This is going to 300 platforms, and some of the biggest platforms on Facebook. This message will be out there, and this message will be repeated again and again and again. So I'd like to thank you for this, and I'd like to thank you for giving this message of hope. And
Yes.
and I'm blessed, and I agree with everything, because I know where you are today. I know where I'm trying to be today, and that's what I want to talk about now, Tanya. I want to know
Let's
where
do it.
you are. I want to know where you are today and what you're achieving today. We've got a banner on the bottom which says a little bit about what you're doing, only a little bit, because you do so much more as well. So over to you. You can start wherever you want to start, with the humanitarian work, with the academia kind of stuff, with your vocational work, or with your own business. Let's talk about it all. Let's talk about a survivor who does so many things today after everything that she's been through and conquered, because you are no longer a victim of your past. You are a master of your destiny, and you've been mastering for years.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think that in itself is a walk, is a process, is a journey. And it comes with personal growth and development. Of course, we hear that every time we turn around, personal growth and development. But it truly is. It's almost like I've went from point A to point B to point C to point D, and I have so much more to go. I'm super excited about the future and the things that we're going towards and where we're headed. I'm excited about where you're going, Saf. I know you've got great, great things ahead of you. So I'm looking forward to all that unfolding. But truly, our journey of life unfolds. It unfolds day by day. It's an unfolding process. And so for me, I can speak to that in regards to, I think it's important to operate from the core of who you are, to
Mm.
operate from the convictions that you hold, and to operate from the vision that's within you, not to allow anyone to manipulate that vision, to tell you what that vision is, because Saf, there is one Saf Buxy in the world. You are unique. There is no one else like you in the whole entire world. There is one of you.
I think so. I gotta agree with that. I gotta agree with that. What did I tell you, Tanya? What did I tell you? Just one of me. One of
That's
me.
right.
There's one of you
That's
too.
right. That's right. That's right. Mwah. There's one of me. And so we are called and destined to bring what only we can do. And so when you come into that realization, and when you come into that place of operating in your car, so to speak, and operating in your lane, I don't want to be in Miss Sally's lane. I don't want to be in this person's lane. I'm not looking to compete. I'm looking to collaborate. I'm looking to create. I'm looking to create and to collaborate, not to compete. And I feel like that's where, if we get sidetracked and we look at other people and we look at their success and we look at them and we start to compare, I feel like that brings in insecurity and all of these negative things we don't need in our life. But when we truly humble ourselves, we work hard, we're disciplined, we're determined, we're dedicated to the vision that's on within our hearts, and we start to just put one foot in front of the other and work it when you don't feel like working. So that's what I've done, and that's what I continue to do every day. But I go with passion, I go with what's in my heart, and if I see it, if I identify a need and I see a problem, I create a solution. I'm a walking solution maker, and that's what I do. And so I've always known I wanted to help people in developing countries. I've been on several humanitarian relief efforts with a Canadian team and an American team. I went to Haiti, I went to Kiev, I went to the Ukraine. We've established medical clinics in Haiti. We've done all sorts of things. And so I have a ministry in Pakistan right now under Healing for the Nations. How was that birth? That was birthed more than 20 years ago, Saf. When I was sitting in that little Bible college and I was praying and I said, Lord, what do you want? And that was dropped in my heart. And I thought, and I've been carrying that for 20 plus years. That didn't just happen. That was a work in progress. I didn't give up on the vision. I just walked with the vision in my heart, and I knew it was going to come to pass, and it's coming to pass in momentum by momentum by momentum. We established a school there as well in Pakistan. It's in a remote village called Sindh, Sindh. I also partner with Gawahi Television there. They air to over 100 different nations. Okay. So I partner with them. And so we planted a mission school with 32 children, then 68, then 72. It's growing and they're learning English. They're loving it. They're loving it, Seth. They are you should see those kids. They are precious. And so that's my heart. That's my heart. And it's about spreading love, it's about doing good, and it's about seeing others, doing good and healed and whole. And so that's what I want. That's what drives me, is the love behind that, you know. And so we planted water wells as well. We, are doing all these things there in the nation of Pakistan. I'm scheduled to go there, God's willing, next year with a team. And we're going to do all sorts of things global. We bought a piece of land. We're starting to build an orphanage there. We are also planting a global empowerment center where we are going to help women create an additional income for their households. Right now, they get like $3 a week. And so that's nothing, and they work so hard. They come home. Sometimes they're beaten, and they still have to take care of their children, because it's their duty. And so, according to the culture and everything. So, there are women there that need help, that need ministry too. There are men there that need help in ministry too. Breaking off low self-esteem and all of that. There's tons of work there. You know what I mean? So that's our heart. That's what we want to do. And that's what we're going to do by the grace of God.
Is
So,
this is your own project, Tanya, or are you part of a team, or are you running the team? How
oh
did it
yeah,
all
no,
start?
this is yes, I founded this, absolutely. And so that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And it costs $100 per sewing machine. And so we want to set up these women with at least 12 sewing machines. That's $1,200 in order to make. We've already picked out what they're going to make, and they're going to sew, and then we're going to sell them, and then we're going to increase the profit so they can get at least 10 to, we can sell them at least $10 each. And we all of that money goes back into the women and to their families, all of it. There is no overhead. All of it goes back into the women there. And so it's strictly to help them and bless them, and to get, increase their living conditions and increase their, what they're doing for their families. They need that help. So that's several projects going on. The next thing is we do feeding programs there as well. When Pakistan was hit with floods, we fed over 150 families there, and we rushed in, we helped them, and we also have a medical team there and a dental team that we'll be utilizing more and more. So there are great things happening there. So that's a little bit of the ministry work, Healing for the Nations. Then in academia, I am a professor, but I also, with a great honor, I just got noted that I was going to be given an honorary doctorate from Kenya. So I was excited about that. I just learned of that actually this past week. So keep me in prayer for that. That's exciting. So I'm very thankful and humbled by a university over there in Kenya. One of my colleagues has reached out to the school, and he did that. I mean, that was all him. So Apostle Tim Justice, thank you for that. So I'm working on my FNP work, family nurse practitioner work right now. And I hope to open up my own clinic, medical clinic, to whereas I can help and establish medical clinics in developing countries as well. And and they'll be self-sustaining. They'll help people with access to medical care that does not have access to medical care, but yet they need it. There is no shortage of vision here. In fact, we have vision upon vision. Me and my team, we're over flooding with vision. I'm also working. I'm developing articles as well, scholarly works for publishing. And I'm also doing great things. I just got invited for a Women of Truth conference, which is to be live in Cyprus next year. I'm excited to be doing that with other healthcare professionals and all about women's health. God, I'm just humbled about that. Obviously, we are doing that global virtual healing retreat. Super excited about that, where we get to the root of things. You have an amazing program that you're going to be speaking about, which is, I am going to be on that. I'm so excited to hear about that. It's about collaboration. It's about networking with good, solid people. It's about helping others. And I really feel like if that's your heart, if you carry that heart, a heart of purpose and true passion for others, things just come to you, Saf. They're just drawn to you. Opportunities, connections. It's just effortless because your heart's in the right place. Your heart's aligned in the right place for the right purpose, and it just happens. So that's what I'm finding, and I also help people earn and trade on the international currency platform Epic. I have global teams. I have a team in Pakistan, developing a team in India, have a team in North America, all sorts of areas. My partner in business has a team in Australia, Fiji, and what we're doing. Oh, we've got a team in Africa, Nigeria, that's coming up. What we're doing is we're helping people understand that they don't have to live in poverty. They don't have to live in lack, getting them out of that lack mindset and breaking them free to financial freedom and independence, where there's time freedom, financial freedom. We're teaching people how to do that, which is quite exciting. And so for me, that platform is used for profit for purpose. And so you can find me on iSuccessBrand.com/profit for purpose. And what that is, what I do is I help people and train people to do that, but we give back. We give back. Yes.
I'm trying to get it right here.
Oh my God. Profit for purpose plug. But what we do is we give back to nations. And so me and my team, we give back to nations, to developing nations, to works in the ministry, to people who are doing good, and we give back, and that's what it's about. I refuse to hoard money. I want to be a channel of giving, and I'm teaching people how to do that and be a real channel of creating wealth, multiple streams of income, and being able to give to their families, leave a legacy, generational wealth, and be able to give to the to others. And so I think that is super important, and it's making an impact. I've also been asked to be as a global entrepreneur. I have two business women who I'm connected with in California, and we are developing a platform which is ready to be launched over soon to be 1,000 women plus. It's called Confident Boss Ladies. And in there, you will see all sorts of different things, from weight loss to all sorts of different groups. But my group is in there called Profit for Purpose as well, where I'll be teaching women, specifically empowering them concerning budgeting, debt reduction, creating multiple streams of income, strategies on how to do that, and those types of, also a little day trading as well. So that's quite exciting. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I'm doing right now, and so excited to to just move forward in vision and purpose. I think it's important to be purpose driven, and passion driven. Purpose, and find out where your passion is, and then tap into that and create. Know what your purpose is, and then do it. So yeah.
Tanya, this you epitomize. You are a fine example of what one can achieve after going through whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? And it's not about the extent of what people go through out there. Whatever people go through is personal to them.
Mhm.
We may not find it big. We might find it huge. It's not about that. It's personal to them. What you've gone through is personal to you. What I've gone through is personal to me. If we can overcome as humanity of what we have gone through and others are going through and achieve what we're trying to achieve after going through that, I think that's testament to a lot of things, a lot of perseverance, a lot of trust, faith, belief. There's so many things. And as you said earlier, it's a process, but it's a process that you can't plan for.
No.
It's and I think when you do plan things, more often than not, it doesn't happen, right?
I know. I can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Saf, I had so many plans for 2020. And you know what? I thought I was going to travel here and there and do this and that and that. And you know what? Those plans were shut down by COVID. But you know what? What I will say this, some major things resurfaced and emerged in 2020 that I didn't know would, because I pivoted. I learned how to pivot successfully into full-time entrepreneurship. And it has been the best thing ever. And I'm so glad, I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to do that. And I think that, when you can see the good, and when you can ask yourself, what am I learning right now? How can I use this right now? I think sometimes it's about the questions we ask ourselves. What am I learning right now? How can I make the most of what's happening? What's going on? And increase that self-awareness, and really turn the pit of what you're going through into purpose, where it's passion driven, and you almost flip a switch and you go, oh, okay. So it's like walking into a blank room where there's nothing in there. Do you see a blank room, or do you see possibility? It's like that.
It's funny you said, because there's a flip side to that coin when it comes to me. I had no plans for 2020. I had no plans. I just, just happy go lucky, do what I got to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a year I've had. I mean, the radio station's been nominated for Best Radio of the Year.
I know.
I've been on 2 TV. I'm on 2 TV channels. So I've got 2 shows on a TV channel. I've been on 20 different platforms, panels, this show. And you know what? I met you. And I had none of his planned.
I know. You're right. You're right. Me either. You're right.
None of his planned. But is your family back?
No, they'll be back in an hour.
Oh look, we've more or less got Tanya? We
I'm right here. Yep.
Are you here? We've more or less come to an end anyway.
Yep,
I could speak to you for hours, and next time I want you sitting on the couch in my house, meet with my family, where we can talk for hours and hours and hours.
Yes.
And one day that will happen.
It's gonna happen.
But I'm not gonna plan it, because it will happen.
I know, you're right. I think sometimes maybe the best things are unplanned. It's true.
Well, look, I want us to finish on a note of, I want you to say something to finish this wonderful, probably the most powerful and the most inspiring show I have been involved with, because of your journey, your story, and your achievements and everything you're doing for humanity. I want you to have the last word of some kind of inspiration or whatever comes out your mouth, because whatever will come out is going to be truly, truly blessed, and it's going to be helpful. I know it is. So, last words to the wonderful Tania.
Seth, first of all, I just want to say thank you. I'm truly humbled by you, and I think you are amazing. Of course, you know that already. You're amazing. And you're amazing because of the heart you carry. Not, and you're doing so much. I'm thankful to meet you, to have you as my good, just one of my closest friends as of today. And I'm very honored by that. So I want you to know that. Thank you so much. And thank you, thank you. And yes, we're going to be doing that. Yes, we're going to be together, and we're going to enjoy each other's family and laugh and probably cry too some. But I am super thankful you never gave up. And I think that's one thing that I want to say today is I am thankful, Saf, that we never gave up. We put one foot in front of the other. Somehow we decided that, those people out there, I want to encourage precious, precious people that are going to be listening today. I want to encourage you, do not give up. Don't give up. If that's one thing I want to drive home, is do not give up. There is light at the end of the tunnel, even though you feel like it is a process. Trust the process. Trust the process you're in right now, that greater is coming to you. Greater and greater is coming for you and your future, that your past doesn't define who you are, that you are more than your past. You are more than your present circumstance. Circumstances change, they will always bend. So know that you are more than just what your circumstances are right now, that you have greatness on the inside of you. You carry greatness on the inside of you, and that greatness only you can carry, because there is only one you in this world. You are unique in and of yourself. So tap into who you are, tap into your greatness, and you need to walk forward one step at a time, maybe one pull at a time, but keep going and know that your future is much brighter than where you've ever been before. So that is what I want to say. And that's the message I want to push on and press into people's hearts today. And know that the best is yet to come for you. We love you, love you, love you so much. Yes.
Thank you so much, Tania. And I'll probably speak to you tomorrow on WhatsApp or something.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I'll probably say, how am I going to speak for 1 hour in the retreat? I have no idea, but I'll end up speaking for 5 probably. But
you're gonna do amazing. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm looking forward to hearing you as always, and everyone's who's being of service on over that weekend. That just so everyone knows, that's on the 5th and the 6th of December.
Yep.
And please do register. And all the links are on my page and Tania's page. And if you want to know more about Tania's business, obviously it's down below, isuccessbrand.com/profit for purpose. Check it out. And thank you very much, Tania. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. God bless you.
You're welcome, my sweet friend. God bless you. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. That is, if that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. What an amazing show we just had. Tania Simmons, God bless you. You inspire me. I think you inspire a lot of people. Thank you.